Hey guys, just about perfect J here, and today we have another car video, which is called on the title, top 10 70s most top 10 most iconic 70s cars. And this took a really long time to make, like about 2 weeks, and with being busy and all of that. So yeah, let's get started. All the Chevelle, with a stock engine of 427 to 454 cubic inches that could punch out 450 horsepower. Now, this car had the most powerful engine of its time. The LS6 was the most powerful engine of 1970. Now, for Chevrolet, this was a big step ahead of Oldsmobile and Pontiac and some others. What made this car different than others is that Pontiac and Oldsmobile would have engines of 455 cubic inches, while this one, the Chevelle, had 427 up to 454. Oh, the Superbird. Yeah, this was Richard Petty's trophy after winning over 100 races in this car. Now, this was 1970, of course, and the engine that there was in the Superbird ROADRUNNER was that there was a Hemi, and Hemis were also known as, NASCAR engines at the time, and so there was a lot of miles per hour the thing could go, stacking up at 426 cubic inches Hemi V8. And that's a little less than the Chevelle did, which was 427 that the Chevelle did. But this car was made to be a NASCAR. I tell you what. Mainly because this thing was an automatic transmission and could go 150 miles per hour. The AMC Gremlin. Definitely not the most best looking car on this list, but definitely deserves a spot on this list. The AMC Gremlin had a 16 engine and a 4-speed transmission and weighed around 1,000 pounds, which is 457 pounds lighter than the VW Rabbit, which means it was, it could go it was easy to take around and stuff, and a lot of people liked it because of that reason. Not everybody back in the 70s was there for the looks. Some people actually thought that cars were made to get from A to B. The AMC Gremlin was definitely the first of its kind, and as soon as they brought it out, they already had rivals like the Ford Pinto, and they legit thought that they were the best car of the decade. Well, you'll see some other cars on this list, and you might think otherwise, if you even like this car, if you don't. I legitimately think that the AMC Gremlin was made for the family. It was a family car, before they had, minivans and stuff. I would legitimately think that this car was helpful in that it was made to actually get from A to B. And even though there's not that much storage space, it was a pretty not expensive car at the time, and so I think it would be easy for families to afford, and it was very lightweight, so which makes which most of the time sometimes makes the fabrications cheaper, but sometimes that's not always the case. You've heard of it, you've seen it in movies. Some people might actually think that the 69 model is better, and here it is, the 1970 Dodge Challenger RT. Now, this car has around, I don't know, 425 horsepower, baby! Now, it would have been around 350 horsepower, but, instead of that, they put a V8 Hemi in here. Yeah, a lot different than the nowadays Challengers, like this. And yes, in some cases, I do agree that the 1969 model is better. Don't get mad at me in the comments. A little different than the Challenger. This Pontiac Trans Am has a 8-liter engine with and 2 valves per cylinder, and yeah, that's pretty good, I guess. Let's not forget that this is a 4-speed manual gearbox, and that this car it weighs around 1,640 kilograms at the curb. If you were wondering what movie or why these past 2 cars, the 70 Challenger and this Pontiac Trans Am, look familiar, is because they're in Smokey. The Pontiac Trans Am is in Smokey and the Bandit, and the Challenger is from Dukes of Hazzard, if you were wondering. Ah, another family car. A lot like the Gremlin. 100 horsepower. Some might have 90 horsepower. Just like this horse. And everything's going well. Everything's going well. You're on a family road trip, and then all of a sudden somebody rear ends you, and oh, you didn't know that? Well, the thing is, when these cars get rear ended, they freaking blow up. Yeah, watch this video. Watch this. Boom. This car is a big deal, and nobody even really talks about it that much anymore. If you were to rear end these things would catch on fire, they'd blow up. In fact, in this movie right here, they use the Ford Pinto as a nuke. Yeah, a car. As an explosive. Yeah, that never does well, right? Yes, now these cars were used as police vehicles, and they're even in the Blues Brothers, and they're rocking out a good 440 V8 engine, and yeah, so these were used as police vehicles back in the 70s. They're in a lot of movies, and there's really not much about this car. If you were to look up this car, there would not be very much about it. It's more like it's more like a Crown Victoria from nowadays, like a 2011 Crown Victoria. That was like that, but like this in the 70s. Not a lot about them. You can just tell what they are from like a little far away, and the police used them, so they'd get a different engine as soon as they were bought most of the time, and a lot of things would be modded about them, so stock isn't always the best choice for this car. But I think what makes this car definitely an icon is one, the Blues Brothers movie, and which really helped it out a lot, the Bluesmobile, right? And just a car they would see every single day of their lives if you lived in a city. So
car's got a lot of pickup. It's got a cop motor, a 440 cubic inch plant. It's got cop tires, cop suspension, cop shocks. It's a model made before catalytic converters, so it'll run good on regular gas. What do you say? Is it the new Bluesmobile or what? Fix a cigarette lighter.
I'm expecting a lot of people in the comments to say, oh, the 60s models are better. The 60s models are better. Yes, I agree with you. The 60s models are better than the 74 Stingray. I 100% agree. But that doesn't mean this car is not going to be iconic. A Stingray, is just... How much better could it get, right? This was when Corvette was at its peak, right? Like, these were top sales, top everything, man. And yes, I 100% agree that the 60s models is what made the 70s Corvettes, are like the main reason why they went up in stock and like buying price and like how much the market loves them and stuff. I 100% agree that the 60s set that up perfectly for the Corvette. Now, I didn't live in the 70s, so I don't really know. But from what I hear, if you lived in LA or Las Vegas, you saw these cars every single day. Now, this is definitely the most gangsta that it can get back in the 70s with a Cadillac DeVille. Yeah. So, from what I hear, these cars are... I like them personally. I like the style. I like the shape. I like them. They look kind of cool, right? Like, you know, I could see putting hydraulics on that thing. I could see that. I could see that being hopped like an Impala, you know. With a 90-degree V8 layout, this car has two valves per cylinder and definitely deserves a spot on this list. What, you thought I was going to go through this whole list without putting a single Mustang on it? Yeah, right. This is a Mustang Mach 1. Now, this car has a 5.8 Cleveland V8. I think what made this car so iconic in the 70s is because of how rare it is, right? They didn't make too many of these, and it was definitely the first Mustang of its kind before, you know, the 80s and 90s when they started bringing out those stranger designs, which I personally do not like on a level. So, yeah, I want to thank you guys so much for watching this video. It means a lot to me if you've gone all the way through. And, yeah, I'm doing a lot of car videos now. I hope you guys are okay with that. Thanks for watching. I'm signing out. Peace.
Why you wanna holler at me? I just wanna drop my dick, down to